Honestly, I didn't expect to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't something that I had dreamed of doing. I was very happy working in the US, working in my regular job, and then going home, shutting down, and just enjoying my life. To me, it changed when I realized that my work wasn't satisfying. It wasn't just about making money and going home with a with a check for the bank. I wanted to do something more, and this idea of organic and fair trade had stuck to us a little bit more because it helped farmers. There's a huge problem in India with cotton farmers and farmer suicides, and we wanted to change that. And I realized that to change it, I had to come here and change the current ecosystem. We had to support our own farmers, and the only solution was for me to create my own company which was focused on that. And that's why the entrepreneurial path came about. Firstly, I don't think entrepreneurship is new to India. We've been doing it for decades and decades. India is very entrepreneurial from the beginning. To me, it's about coming up with something more creative, something different. How do you stand out from the crowd? How do you leave your mark in business? And in our case, it's not just about business, but how to actually take it into a much bigger plane. How do we impact our society, our environment? We don't want to work just for money. We've done that. Lots of people are doing that, but it's not as satisfying. So to me, entrepreneurship is being different and is finding your place in this big world. My family's always been into engineering, so mechanical engineering, working with manufacturing of industrial components. I did my undergraduate in Bombay in telecommunications, and then I went to the US for computer engineering. Worked for 12 years in the US, working in IT, product management and product development, more web focused and mobile focused. And then I came back to India a few years ago. For many decades, most people in India thought of the US as the answer. But that's changing. People are happier working in India as well. And if you think of that as your goal, being happy, not making money or anything, making money is just a means to an end. If you work on being happy, then everyone's going to support you. So my parents, it was very clear that to them as well, like I was working in the US, I was successful, but I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. So when I said I'm going to take the leap and come back and work on this, they were more than happy for me to do that. They were like, yeah, just follow your dreams, do what's really passionate, gets you going and you're passionate about. So No Nasties is a social enterprise, and we try to promote organic and fair trade cotton in India. The root problem is that cotton farmers in India are going through a really difficult time for the last 15 years. Because of the switch from regular farming to chemical farming, where they have to buy artificial seeds and they have to take huge loans, they're not able to make ends meet. They take loans and they don't make enough from their crop. They end up taking their own lives. And that's been going on for like 15 years at a very alarming rate. Farmer suicides are 1 every half an hour on average. And that's just a shocking number. If you think about it, this interview will take about half an hour. That's the rate at which it's been going on. When I started looking into it, we realized that there were organizations, NGOs working with the farmers directly. But we as Indian consumers were not helping them. All the good work was being exported. Europe, US, Australia are really big into organic fair trade. But there's no reason why we shouldn't be supporting our own farmers who are trained right away. So our goal as No Nasties is to create awareness of the problem We also offer a solution by means of our t-shirts, and that's what keeps us going as a business. We make really fantastic t-shirts, good designs, good product, good fit, good fabric, which people would like to wear anyways, but it's a good product that it's actually doing good for the environment and society as well. So we're trying to take away all the reasons why you would not choose this. If you realize the story behind the t-shirt, and if it's actually saving somebody's life, why would you not choose it? All our t-shirts are made of 100% organic and fair trade cotton. Organic means using natural seeds, not genetically modified seeds. It means using natural fertilizers, not these poisonous, toxic chemicals that we've been using for so long, which go into our rivers, into our air, into the food system. And fair trade means being ethical about it. So giving the farmers the right prices, not squeezing them for every rupee, which they really need. 1 rupee to the consumer doesn't make a difference, but 1 rupee to the farmer makes a huge difference. It means life and death for them over the farming season. So fair trade is giving them right wages for their product. It's giving them extra money, premiums for developing their community as well. And that together means that they can live a more sustainable, healthier lifestyle. If they can do that in the farms, then they don't come to the cities. They don't come and beg here, it doesn't become an urban problem. So overall, the goal for No Nasties is to create this consumer movement in India where people become more conscious of their purchases and the impact of their purchases. I know if I start treating this as just another business, then I'm being untrue to myself. It's a good point, I hadn't thought about it before, but sometimes you need to step away from the problem, see it from outside to see what the situation actually is. I think when you're living in India, you face so many hardships right here. Our basic day-to-day lives are a hassle. If you see beggars and homeless kids running on the streets right in front of you, that itself is such a big problem. You're not going to think of farmers who are out of your sight. But when you can step out and say like, okay, my basic needs are met, now I need to start thinking of what is the next big problem that I should be tackling. What should I be thinking of? I'm not thinking of where my food's coming from. I'm not thinking of how to take care of my family anymore. I know I have the faith that that's going to happen. Now I need to start making more conscious decisions beyond that. And I think that's what the turning point was. I wonder if I was only in India, living in India throughout, if I would care about it. You're forced to harden yourself living in India. You have to create the shell so that you don't get bothered every time you see a kid begging on the street. Because you cannot live like that. Your body will not function anymore. Your mind will not let you keep going on if that's the problem. Coming back to India, I wasn't sure how to go about setting up a business. I'd never set up a business before. I knew there was going to be a lot of red tape and a lot of issues on that front. But I was also hassled a lot by the supply chain. Working with factories, finding the right people to work with, ethical people, trustworthy people who would actually deliver on the product. I mentioned before that we were the first Indian brand to do this. Most of the work is exported. That means their factories are used to working in large quantities. And now if we come in as a small player who they haven't heard of, convincing them to process our orders was not easy. So it took us a long time. Once we had the supply chain going, then we work online on and getting our online presence set up was time consuming as well. Like payment gateway issues, bank account issues, just the traditional things which frustrated us as well. But having said all of that, once I was going, it was fantastic. Once you have your product out in the market, you're talking to customers love what you're doing. They come and write to you like, oh my god, I can't believe that this is such a good product, so I'm so happy that somebody's finally doing this in India. That's the kind of stuff which will keep motivating you and your team. Early stage for a startup is difficult. You face a lot of financial challenges as well, and it's easy to cut corners, and just say like, let me focus on making money. What we've held strong is why we started the company. What is the foundation? For us, it's a social enterprise, and we think about every action we take, right? So what is the impact on the environment? Why are we choosing one paper versus another paper? And we use that in every process, every meeting we have. We'll talk about what's going into it, what the outcome is, and how we can make it better. To give you an example, our business cards are made from recycled Tetra Pak paper. We make boxes for our packing our t-shirts. We had the choice of getting fantastic quality, cheaper cardboard paper from abroad. But we said no. We're going to use slightly more expensive but local cardboard paper. It's just better for the environment. We don't need cardboard paper flown in from China for us. The bags which we use, we don't use anything which is plastic. Every stage is inspected thoroughly. You know, when we make our t-shirts, most t-shirts have like a plastic lining. You'll be surprised, you don't think about it, but there's like a plastic lining. You're like, why is it there? It's just standard process. We're like, no, we don't want it. Take it out. Okay, that means it will take you a few months to develop your product. We'll have to do new samples and stuff. Okay, fine. So we bear a lot of the costs and the time to do the right thing. So that keeps us going, and I don't want to get to a place where I'm like, where did I end up? Why am I here? This is not where I started. You said people think of us as someone they can trust. We're very transparent about who we work with. We reveal all our information on our website about where our products come from. It's very unusual for a new product to give out our secrets saying, this is our factory, this is our cotton supplier, go do it. And we're doing that because we want to be open and we want more and more people to do this as well. So I want customers to think of Nasties as a good company which gives a great product, who they can call and be involved in the process as well, because that's how we're going to create that movement. That is our goal. It's not about selling t-shirts, honestly. I can make a lot more money doing my old career of technology. The level of professionalism which each individual brings abroad is much higher than here. You don't have to convince people to do their job, they just come up, show up and work really hard. We've been challenged by working with a few local folks who you say are kamchor or just not committed. They don't realize that it's not just a job that affects, it's not just a paycheck. You know, they can actually make a contribution and grow their own career by doing good work. So individually, that's one difference. If you talk about the sector like government and paperwork and things, corruption is a big issue, right? Corruption exists in the US as well, but there you have to bribe somebody to do something which is not their job or to do the wrong thing. In India, you have to bribe somebody to do their job. In India, you have to bribe somebody to do their job, which is ridiculous, right? We go to the sales tax office to get our paperwork, or any office, post office for example, right? Let's just talk about post office. So we go to the post office and I go inside and give the guy all the envelopes which need to be shipped out because I don't want him to carry it from outside. I'm like, great, this will help you, right? He's like, yeah, it'll help me, but your parcels will not get lost if I can get chai pani. And that is ridiculous. Why do I have to pay you to do your job? If I'm telling you to speed it through or charge me less, sure, I understand that you have the guts to ask me for that. So that's the big difference. That's what frustrates most of us, and we get used to it. At some point, we're like, okay, if our business is not moving forward, what do we have? What choices do we have? And we want that to go away. Government, absolutely. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. None of us ever feel like the government is on our side. It's always us battling the government. There might be small pockets where they say these many funds available for new companies and might be new, low interest loans available. But the mountain you have to climb to get there, we don't even tackle it. We'll just do it on our own in the private sector. Indian society as a whole is very encouraging, but you have to find what appeals to them. Such a vast country, such a diverse nation. Some people are very price sensitive, some people are brand conscious, some people just want good customer service. There's no one formula. So either you pick or you try to do a little bit of everything. But on the whole, India's booming in entrepreneurship right now. So people are receptive to it, but they're also getting a little jaded by new concepts that are like a flash in the pan. I love a new company, but in 6 months it's gone because it cannot sustain itself. So finding sustainable models is still a challenge. If you know you want to do it, just go ahead and do it. There's always going to be obstacles. There's going to be people who say you cannot do it. It doesn't make sense to do it in this way or not. You're born in India or you're working in India, you know what the challenges are. There's no point complaining about it anymore. Right? If it's a brand new surprise, like hey, somebody suddenly out of the blue asks you for something unusual, then you can react. what's the point of complaining about traffic in Bombay? Right? It affects me a lot. It affects me every day that I have to deal with traffic in Bombay and Calcutta, every place we're in. But as a business, you have to move forward. You cannot say these are my roadblocks. That's not good planning or not good strategy. Right? So anyone new, my only thing is just find a way to keep moving forward. Don't come up with reasons why you cannot do it. Just find ways to actually make it happen. We don't want to plan that far ahead of 10 years because the world changes really fast. Right now we're an online company. Maybe in a few years we'll realize that we cannot be only online, we'll start having our own stores. 10 years down the line, maybe we're an international company, we're the company in the world for organic fair trade cotton products. So there's a lot of potential. We are the first company in India to do fair trade t-shirts. So we'll see.
I think it's how he combines his past experience to a completely new venture, and how he looks back to his past experience as a web developer and applying it in this sort of startup environment doing fashion. I heard about No Nasties the first time I came to India while I was working for another company. That's when I bought a t-shirt. I knew No Nasties, I knew the cost, thought it was great. What I didn't realize, I didn't know Apurva, and I didn't know it was a startup. So when I came back to India, I met Apurva personally, and he told me he needed people, and I met him. Yeah, that's how it happened. It was a 5-minute conversation.
Things which I've learned, right? I started doing this 12 years after working in a career. All of us have a choice on when to start your own company or when to take up a job. Just think through what's going to make you happy in the end. If you really need to take up a job because you need to pay your bills, you need to pay your loans, you need to run a family, do that because that gives you a lot more security. But once you've made that decision, then don't complain about why you did it, right? If you're deciding to go into entrepreneurship, realize it's going to be hard. It might be a while before you succeed, or it might not be likely that you succeed. Most entrepreneurships companies fail. Right? The majority of them fail. I don't know what statistics that you have, but most of them fail. But it's fine. You were doing that because it's going to make you happy. The worst thing is to have regrets of what if I had done that. Right? Your biggest regrets in life are things which you didn't do, not what you did. So just go forward, make a decision and go forward.